U.S. Army veteran, Jennifer Harris. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's get into it.
Urban Christian Veterans provides a safe place for Christian veterans of color to discuss the challenges you face in your daily lives. Being a person of color has its challenges. Being a Christian has its challenges. Being a veteran has its challenges. All of those factors being combined makes for a unique and sometimes difficult life experience that is seldom talked about in public forums. Thank you for tuning in to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. Here's your host, D. Allen Rose.
Thank you, Aaron, for that wonderful introduction. This is D. Allen Rose, and you are listening to the Urban Christian Veterans Podcast. So first, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me today. I know you're extremely busy, and I greatly appreciate it. So let's jump right in. Would you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Like I said, I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I spent 4 years in the military. I only had one duty station, Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay.
I did my basic boot camp training at what is known as Fort Lawson Wood, Missouri. So Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And then I did my AIT at Fort Lee, Virginia. And got to Fort Hood, met my husband the first day.
Wow.
Yep.
First day.
First day I got there, and been together 32 years, married 30, a mother of one, but I have 2 stepchildren, and between the 2 of them, we have 7 grandchildren.
Wow.
Our daughter together, she don't have any kids, so she's 25. She told me I had 7, so I didn't need any, but I want one biological one from her when she get married.
Okay, right on.
So I'm a mother, wife, grandmother. They call me J-Ma. And a daughter, of course, a sister. And I'm a paralegal.
Paralegal, okay. Cool. So what's that like, being a paralegal?
Wow. So the industry that I'm in, which is personal injury, but I don't know, personal injury is, mostly car accidents, slip and falls. And I've been in it 12 years now. Or is it 13? 13 years now. And the adjusters, everything is getting harder. Like Georgia passed a law about litigation things, and it's just getting harder. The process is a long process. So, clients kind of get frustrated, think we're not working on their case when we are. So it's just a lot, dealing with the public versus I was in accounting for 10 years and I didn't deal with people, but everybody think I am a people person, but everybody think, oh, you would be good at sales or like customer service because I have a welcoming spirit, but that don't mean you want to deal with it all the time. So I'm like, I don't want to work on commission.
Okay.
And you could tell the difference back in the day. Like now with tipping, it's just like automatic now. But back in the day, if you go into a clothing store or something, you can tell when they worked on commission because as soon as you walk in, they're complimenting you, they're all on you. Nowadays, you can't even find the help. So it's like,
So let me ask you this: what was your MOS in the military?
My MOS was 76 Charlie, and then it switched over to 92 Alpha. So that's supply.
Supply. Okay. So when you went into the civilian world, you went totally away from everything you did in the military?
Yeah, sort of. When I got out the military, before I went in, I only had completed 2 years of college, and I don't remember how many credits I got because honestly, how I ended in the military, high school I did good, college I kind of partied. And so when I got out the military, I went back to school. Donald was stationed at Fort McClellan, so I went to school at Jacksonville State University in Jacksonville, Alabama, and I finished up my accounting degree, and I was shocked when I got my transcript. I did better than I thought I had did because I knew I wasn't going to school. Okay. When I got to Eastern Michigan, I was barely going to Alabama A&M, and I was like, wait, I did this good. So, I mean, some of it I did bad, but I did good enough to have some credit still. And so I had 2 years to finish up, and I got my accounting degree in 1999. And so I did accounting for 10 years, like I said, and Donald was still in the military, so every 3 years get a new job.
Right.
and
Right.
and I thought so. I ended up going back to school, which that's something I didn't want to do either. I never thought I would go back to school. But when we were stationed at Fort Campbell, that was the first time. Usually when we PCS, it took me 3 months to get a job. We got to Fort Campbell. What year was that? Gosh, I don't remember what year it was. Like 2009 time frame.
Okay.
And that's the first time it took me a year to get a job.
Mm.
I think I got a little depressed. And Donald was sending out my resume. It was making me mad by doing that. But this lady I met at church introduced me to somebody on base, and I ended up getting $6,000 military spouses to go back to school or go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I used that towards my master's, and I got my master's in legal studies. And while I was still in my master's program, like I said, Donald had sent my resume out, and I got a phone call. This was so weird. I got a phone call on Thursday, and they asked me, can I start work on Monday? And I'm like, who is this? I didn't even have an interview, and I didn't send my resume to you.
Mm-hmm.
But Donald, that networking on base or whatever. And I guess my resume was that good because I started work on Monday, and I got paid for like 2 months to do nothing because my background check, it took that long to come in, so they couldn't give me any passwords. So my supervisor let me do my homework. So I was getting paid to do homework.
Mm.
And,
Okay.
so when I graduated, the day of my graduation, I didn't go to my graduation. We were moving from Fort Campbell to Georgia. And I thought once we got here, he was going to retire, which he did. And I said, the first job I get, I'm retiring from that job because I was tired of switching every 3 years. Lo and behold, no, this company is probably my 7th law firm I didn't work for since I've been in Georgia.
Wow.
It is the best one that I've worked at, but and it's Black owned.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like, God, no, it didn't work. The first job I got, just like when I got my degree in accounting, my first job in Montgomery, I was so disappointed. I thought going to college, you get your little business degree, whatever, you get your briefcase, you dressing all nice, and you go start out making $50,000. No, my first accounting job, I was making $27,000. What kind of money with that?
Mm.
Oh, but to go back to your question, so when I got the military and I was in school, the job I ended up having, because I worked part-time, it was like what I was doing in the military, sort of in the warehouse.
Okay.
So that was the closest. But first I was working at a grocery store, and that was no money. That's embarrassing as a grown woman. Think I didn't have any kids, making $4.25 at the grocery store when I got the military.
Mm.
And I remember this guy, I interviewed for the grocery store as a cashier, and I interviewed for a hostess position. And I had already accepted the other job, but he really was trying to convince me to come. And I was scared to go for one reason, because I always felt like if they were short on waitress, they would probably say, oh, we need you to do the waitress job. He's like, no, we'll never do that. You got a pretty smile. It was pretty back then. He was like, you got a pretty smile. You'll be a good hostess. And then I said, but you're not even enticing me to make me want to come, because he didn't even want to offer me 1 cent more than the $4.25.
Right.
He wanted to offer me the same thing. I think I would turn down the other job that I took prior. I'm like, if he had offered me $4.75 or $5, maybe I would have took it. You offered me the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And right.
I got to stand up. Well, I have to stand up as a cashier too. But anyway, I don't know how I found a warehouse job, but I ended up getting that job. And I thought I was making money because that was double of what I was making at the grocery store. It was like $8.65 or something. And I stayed there until I graduated. And I graduated right when we were moving from Anniston to Montgomery,
mm-hmm.
for Donald to finish up his degree at Alabama State. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what was your reason for joining the military to begin with?
Basically, like I said, the commercials would come on and I would change the commercial, change the channel. I was not interested in the military. And like I said, I wasn't really doing that. It was summertime from my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I was a sophomore. I guess I was, because my credits were better than I thought. But it was summer. I was at home. And the recruiter had called.
Mm-hmm.
And when he introduced himself as Sergeant, whatever his name was, I thought he was this officer. And that's how he got, because I was asleep, taking a nap when I woke up. That's how he got as far as he did. Because I was like, dang, I thought you was somebody else. But, he was this recruiter, mm-hmm. and, trying to convince me and everything. And I'm telling him all kinds of reason why, they got a response to everything. And I was just like, at the time, I thought I was in love with this guy, and I was just like, my boyfriend, this and that. He gonna lie and say, "Oh, your boyfriend can come and y'all can live on base or what, all that kind of stuff." He ain't say y'all had to be married and all that. He just feed me all this stuff. Your boyfriend can come and y'all can live on base and this and that, and trying to make everything sound good. And I'm still like, no. So I don't. And so I think because I really didn't know what I was doing in school. I changed my major every semester. I went in as pre-law thinking I wanted to be an attorney. Then I changed it to social work. I changed it to accounting, from accounting to nursing, which I don't know why I tried the nursing thing. That was because of my mother, but went back to accounting. I just wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't focused, didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I entertained it because even my mother, I think when she saw my grades, she was like, "What are you doing?" So I entertained it because it was like, okay, what am I doing? But when he picked me up that morning to take me wherever we went to in process before I swore in, and I went to my mother's room to tell her bye, it was like early, like maybe 3 a.m. And I was crying. She was like, "You cried?" I was like, "Yep."
What?
I did not want to go.
What?
I did not want to go. But even though my recruiter lied to me, I do give him credit and thank him for he conditioned me, because I hate running. I even hate working out. I'm doing better with it, but I just, I don't like all that stuff. But he got me in shape. So when we get to wherever you get to, and they make the boys do 13 push-up and the girls do the 1 push-up.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you got to go to that 2-week prior boot camp training.
Right.
I was like, thank you, Lord, because people had to really go. And I did my 1 push-up and I did my sit-ups or whatever. And I was like, thank you for that. Well, yeah, so he did. He would come pick me up and we go running. We did it. So, and he didn't tell me I had to do it. I probably would have had more motivation, but I didn't know about that pre-thing or whatever. But yeah, he did get me in shape for that. So I thank him for that. But I still be mad at him about his lies.
Yeah. That remedial, that remedial training you got to go through if you don't.
If he didn't do what he did, I would have had to be in the remedial, and I probably would have said, "No, I changed my mind." But he got me ready. So
wow. Okay. So if you had a chance to do it all over again, would you?
Sometimes I say no, just because I did not like the military.
Really? Okay.
I didn't like being in the military, but I don't regret. I like being a veteran.
Okay.
But and then, like I said, I met Donald. But I think, but sometimes, you just sit around and you think about things, if you can do things differently. I think sometimes I probably would do things differently, but at the same time, I don't know, because I always say I never wanted to join, but things always happen the way they're supposed to happen. So I don't know. Intentionally, I probably would say no, I wouldn't join. But I don't know what my life would look like if I didn't. And I got a good life.
Right. No, understood. So, I guess this lends into the next question, which is, during your military career, did you experience any negativity due to you being a service member of color?
I'm sure I have, but I think honestly, I think I experienced more racism being a civilian than in the military. I just have, I think with me, and it's not just the military, it's a lot of places, but with me, my issues were with mostly Black women.
Okay. Speak on that.
A lot of times it's them. Sometimes I hate to use the word jealous, because like I don't have anything to be jealous of, but that's the only thing I can think of is like, and then why are you jealous of me? You're E5, you're E6. Why are you tripping on me? But only thing I can think of, I remember in, I don't know, was it boot camp or AIT? It might have been AIT. It was AIT because we had more freedom AIT. And I'm standing on steps facing the door, talking to some of my battle buddies. And this white officer, he comes up behind me and he taps me on the back of my shoulder. And I look back and he says, "You didn't salute me." And I looked at him, I said, "Where you tapping me on the back of my back, obviously I didn't see you." And it's like, really? He tapped me on the back of my shoulder for me to salute him?
Wow.
He walked away with it. And then I remember when I was on the plane in my green, the what you call it, dress greens, the pants.
Right.
And this old white man, He's like, they let y'all wear pants now?
Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Wait. So,
So women, they used to wear the dresses all
right,
the time. I guess they
right.
didn't have pants.
So back to the officer. When he tapped you on the shoulder, you mentioned that you were out there with your battle buddies. Did he say anything to anybody else?
No. And that was weird. Just out of the blue, and I don't remember my battle buddies. Let me see, it might have been because who I used to hang with, it was two of us were black.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was a white girl. Then there was a Hispanic one, and then one was from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't really hang with a white person.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It just was weird. I was just like, and also surprised me because I'm like, even though I talk and people think I'm not shy the way I am, and it's a lot of times, and some people think I'm bold, but I'm really not. But I was surprised I said what I said, but it was because, and not just go ahead and salute them. But it was just like, I don't know. Maybe I was feeling myself that day. I don't know. But it was just like, really? I don't know.
So we need to, so people think you're shy? Or you're saying...
No, I am shy, but people don't think I am.
You're shy. Okay, so you are shy, but people don't think you're shy. Okay.
Because I talk.
I think I would fall into that category.
I know you will.
I don't think you're shy.
Donald does too. He don't think I am, but I said that's part of being shy. One of the characteristics, if you look it up, we talk a lot to kind of like cover it up. I guess it's, we're talkative. Some people are not talkative, but mine, I'm talkative. But that's why I don't like being put on the spot. I don't like being embarrassed. I don't like video, and I don't like public speaking. And I'll talk like if it's one-on-one or a group of intimate, close family and friends, I would talk. But if it's like a group setting, a convention, all that public speaking stuff.
Okay, so the dude who saw you in your dress blue or your
the green,
your pants.
Yes, yep. It was cold. I wasn't gonna wear that skirt.
Wow.
Then I think another thing I was mad about. So in boot camp, and I don't know if it's because it was just stricter because you're in boot camp, but you still have AR regulations when you're in boot camp that you should follow, right? So in the military, here you go again. Most of the girls, it was this one girl, black girl, she was doing a lot of the females' hair and for graduation. And for whatever reason, me and her didn't get along. So of course she ain't do my hair. And hair, we sweating, whatever, is looking a hot mess. And the people at the little beauty salon or whatever, they don't know nothing about our hair. So I used to wear like a short wig.
Okay.
And so I remember one of the drill sergeant, because when we went into the gas chamber, I couldn't wear the wig in there.
Okay.
And so he was teasing and laughing because the wig was in my helmet.
Oh, man.
Outside, he was cracking up, whatever. He said, he was just like, that's the funniest thing. But anyway, when it came time to graduation, do you know they had like a whole committee about whether or not if I can wear that wig on graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's in the little pamphlet that we get that you can wear as long as it, whatever. And it was short. It wasn't like this or weave on or whatever. It was a short, like pixie haircut.
Uh-huh.
And I remember this black female, I don't know what she one of the ones who decided, but I believe she was, on our locker. You know how they come and inspect your locker?
Mm-hmm.
So on my locker, I had this drawing of me that my ex-boyfriend had drew of me.
Okay.
And my hair, like back in the day, I had thicker hair, long, pretty hair. People used to think it was weave. I wish it would come back, but I don't know. I think it's gone.
Okay.
But I had a picture of me that he drew, and it looked just like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the wig on. And the lady, she kept looking, and she was asking me, she said, is that all your hair? On the picture? I said, yes. And she said, you still have it? I said, yes. She said, it's under the wig now? I said, yes. And she was like, how? Because I had so much hair, but I was just wrapped around my head or pulled back or whatever, and I just, had the wig on. And she was just like, I don't know. But anyway, like I said, they came back and they decided after, I don't know, a week or two and told me, no, I couldn't wear it at graduation. And I was so upset, like showing them this AR where it said, and nope. I think that lady had something to do with it. But no, I couldn't wear my wig at graduation. So most of the girls, they had finger waves. She did their hair looking all cute. Nope, mine was just kind of like pulled back in the ball. whatever. So I got to wear the whole time in boot camp. I had my mother send it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole time in boot camp, I'm wearing this wig, but on graduation, I didn't get to wear it.
Okay, so
Isn't that crazy?
this is basic training,
Yes.
graduation, and they would not let
Hmm.
you wear it.
That's crazy, right?
And so is
But I
this
got to wear it during boot camp. So
right?
if I could wear it at graduation, I shouldn't have been able to wear it throughout boot camp.
Yeah, that sounds like some foolishness, but
Yeah, it was crazy.
so is that around the time where you had your class A's on and
No, that was before because the class A's were, I'm thinking, is when I was either going home before going to AIT or leaving home after AIT going to my first duty station. It was one of those
I
things.
got you.
So it was
Okay.
after boot camp.
After that. Okay. And so he makes the comment, so they let you wear pants now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how to take that. Like it could was you mentioned he
He
was
was an old white
he,
man, so he's like women should be in dresses, barefoot and pregnant. Probably didn't even want me to be in the military.
wow. Okay. Did he go in
That's how I took it.
how did that conversation go? Like he said it and then what? Then what?
It was so long ago. I think I just said yes and sat down, and that was it. That
Wow. Okay.
was it.
Okay. Cool. At least you didn't, respond all crazy. But
No.
okay, so looking back to the day you left the military,
Hmm.
what advice would you give your younger self about how society would treat you as a Christian veteran of color?
I don't think people look at me and know, oh, she's a black Christian of color
Okay.
veteran. I don't think so. I think how people treat if they're going to treat you a certain way is not because you're a Christian. Because a lot of times they don't even know unless they ask. Sometimes because I remember I had a friend in Anniston, and she was a good person, and she did right by everything. So I assumed that she was a Christian
Mm-hmm.
until she got saved, and I was just like, oh wow. I didn't know. And her and her husband at the time, they were just on fire for God. And
Mm-hmm.
I never knew because they, they did things as a Christian would do, they weren't bad people. But yes, I don't know. That question is hard for me because people, I think people know, like a lot of people, I've been told my light shine
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So I think people know because at work, I mean, people, my gifts would be like prayers and things like that. So, they know that I'm a Christian and all that. But I don't think, like, just in everyday passing, people would be like, oh, she must be a Christian and she black and she a veteran. So I'm going to treat her this type of way.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And so is there any advice that you would give your younger self talking about the day you left
the day I left.
about how some challenges that society is going to throw at you, period?
This was a question I probably should have prepared for.
No, it's,
I don't know. This is not even advice, but I think sometimes, and I asked Donald this a couple of weeks ago because the difference between like PCSing or not PCSing, but ETSing out and retiring.
mm-hmm.
When you retire, you go, I guess, through a whole different chain of things. And so, because I remember, he gets disability, and I don't know. Everybody keep telling me, oh, I need to apply for it, and I always like, oh, I want to do it. But lately, I've been thinking about doing it because I got frostbite in boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
and every time it don't even have to be real cold. It could be the AC can be on too high or low or whatever, and my toes and fingers are starting getting really cold or burn or whatever. And I was like, I don't even know if it's in my records though, because my battle buddies literally had to carry me to boot camp because I couldn't walk on my feet,
Mm-hmm.
and the wait was so long. By the time they got to me, I had thawed out, and it was so dismissive that I don't even think it was that they put it in my records. One of our friends from Fort County, he's like, "It's in your records, in your records." But every time, just matter of fact, today at work, my toes got cold, and they started like that burning sensation. I was like, "Yeah, maybe I need to go ahead and get my records and apply, even if it's just 10%." But I think getting out when I ETS out and went through, I don't even remember a lot of it, but you go through your little classes to help you accolade to civilian world, especially if you went straight after high school. But I don't remember anything about them asking about any disabilities or whatever. I don't remember. It was just so simple when I got out versus when Donald retired. It was a whole different package thing that he went through and all this,
Mm-hmm.
and like almost automatically getting disability or whatever. But and he didn't automatically get 100%. But it was different. And then with being retired, you have different benefits. As a veteran, we have access to the VA and all that, but things as being retired is a blessing. Like our daughter, she got to go to school free. Thank God for
Mm-hmm.
that. And then, we had was it Tri-Care for Life or Prime Life or whatever, healthcare. I never paid for healthcare out of my pay, and that's a lot, that's savings because some people paying $300-400 a month. So that's a blessing.
Right.
And it has it's good benefits because I remember when I had surgery in Montgomery, all I ever paid was a $50 copay for that surgery, and that included my follow-up visits and everything. So we're blessed with that. Um, so yeah, the retirement versus just getting out is different, and so getting out, I think I wish I had have maybe prepared more and applied for certain things. But the time like I only spent 4 years. Ain't nothing wrong, but I think, like I said, my frostbite, and then I had a stillborn when we were in the military,
Mm.
and those records definitely would show that it was their negligence. Especially, I lost my baby on was it a Monday? Oh, on a Monday, and they told me my baby had been dead for 2 weeks, and I said that's impossible because I just had a prenatal visit Thursday prior to that Monday, and they were just trying to cover up some stuff. But I don't know what they're trying to cover up because by me being in the military, Donna being in the military, me being married, nobody could sue. And if he had to live 1 second, then he could have sued on his own behalf. But he was born dead, so there was no loophole that we can go through to even sue on that. Because you can't sue the military and all that. But them saying he was dead for 2 weeks. When I had that prenatal visit, they was not even supposed to let me leave the hospital. But as a person, and now I'm not so much like that, but at the time you kind of trust the medical providers, what they're telling you. You're not the doctor. So
Mm-hmm.
when they let me leave, as far as I knew, everything was good. But when I got my records, they should have admitted me that day because I had protein in my urine, my blood pressure was sky high, I had too much weight gain in 1 week, and it was another one now. But I know those three: protein in my urine, the weight gain, the high blood pressure. I want to say something else, I don't know, but those three things alone, they were supposed to admit me to the hospital. So I had preeclampsia, and so that Monday we had a football game on base, and I just had this sharp pain, and I have a high tolerance for pain. My friend always reminded me of that because they kept saying you need to go to the doctor, and I was like, I think I had it before. And I was like, no, it's normal, it's normal. We got home, and I went to the bathroom, and it was just blood everywhere. So Donald and our friend, though they called, 911, the ambulance was taking too long. They carried me to the car, and I think they was doing like 150 with the hazard lights on to get me to the hospital on base. But I already knew that he was deceased, and then when I got there, I remember asking one of the doctors or physician or whatever, was he okay? And it's me. He was so mean, and I was like, "Is my baby okay?" And he was like, he was like, something about he said something really ugly, and he's like, we're trying to figure it out. And then I threw up all over him, and I was like, good, that's what he get, because he was just being ugly. I couldn't remember exactly what he said, but at the time I remember like it was just ugly, and I'm just like, what? But yeah, so yeah, he was born dead, and so I know that's in my records. But other than that, I'm like, I don't know what else I have to be in there to be trying to claim anything.
Mm.
But like I said, I'll tell my younger self to maybe do more paperwork. I was just concerned with just getting out. I was happy to get out. But
Right.
nothing to prepare myself for. I think by me being married when I got out, and married to who I'm married to, the person I knew who was going to take care of me. He, like I said, at that time he wasn't an officer. He might have been an E5, maybe an E6. I don't know if he had made an E6 yet, but he always been the leader type of person and wanted to go. So I, even though, like I said, I worked part time when I got out while he was stationed at Fort Anderson, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't feel like I guess if I wasn't married, it would have been different, and maybe I would have stayed in longer if I hadn't been married. I don't know, but things work out the way they do. I don't really have anything to tell myself except for maybe regretting doing so whatever paperwork you need to do to get disability at that time instead of having to now try to get your paperwork, missing work to go on doctor visits and all that. It's just a lot, but. Every time my toes and fingers get cold, I think, yeah, I need to go ahead and see if I can just even get 5% for that.
Okay. Well, first, let me just say my condolences. I hate that you went through that.
Thank you.
And just out of curiosity, the doctor that and the whole staff that you were dealing with at the time, I'm just curious. Were they black, white? What was their makeup?
Most of them was white. I don't remember if I encountered. I think once, maybe after, like during the prenatal thing, I think most of them was white. But I remember after they delivered him, I vaguely want to remember there was a black person because I remember after they delivered him and we got to hold him. And they told me, and I regret to this day that I didn't ask to hold him again because they said, let us know, if you want to hold him again. I never did. But when I got home, they had prepared, we still have it, this purple box. And it had 2 flaps with a ribbon. And you open it up. One side has his footprint. The other side has his birth infant. Well, he was never born, his death information.
Mm-hmm.
But then I put his death certificate inside of it. And it had his little clothes, and they're so little. They're like a little square. They were so tiny. He was only 3 pounds, 0.05 ounces. His hat with I guess it's blood on it. It looked like ink, but it has to be blood. His little hat, our bracelets, and it was a poem from one of the nurses. And for some reason, and she might have been white, but in my mind, she was black. But it was a poem that somebody had sent that I put in there, and it was it's like a little keepsake of what they have a lock of his hair. And another thing, I didn't know that I was going to have this when I got home. There's 2 pictures of him, and both of the pictures have his hat on. Because, if the baby is alive, they're going to keep the hat on. And I said, gosh, I wish they had took a picture with his hat off because he had pretty hair. He had pretty hair. The boys, I don't know why boys have pretty hair and the girls don't, but he had a lot of pretty hair. And I have a lock of his hair, but not a picture without his hair. So both the pictures they took of him, his hat is on. But we still got that. And he would be in October, he would have been 30. And I remember when Janiyah, I forgot, she was probably 4, maybe 5. And I talked to her about him, and she told me one day that was her angel. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So that's our big. I always wanted a boy and a girl. And I wanted my boy to be older. And in a sense, that's what happened. And she said that's her guardian angel. So, but yeah, and I remember, so I don't know how long I stayed in the hospital. I was in the hospital for a while. Donald had to take care of all of the arrangements. We had on base, we had I guess like a memorial service. My unit was there. His unit was there. And I remember sitting at the front, stuffed in this outfit that I could barely fit. But we sitting there, and the priest or whoever he was just like, take your time. And how they be, like your sister-in-law probably be. I just couldn't do that job. But, we there, we crying. And they was like, just take your time. And I remember when I got up, it was empty. And I was like, dang, nobody was here. And my friend was like, girl, this place was packed. Everybody from Donald's side, everybody from your side was there. You just stayed in there forever.
Right.
But, his unit, they sent flowers or whatever. The same friend that helped Donald carry me to the car, he gave us this peace lily. We still have that flower to this day. And I asked him one time, I said, did you know when you gave that to us that it was last that long? He said, no, it was just right. I said, yeah. I said, so that's my son. That, and I don't have a green thumb. It survived probably because of Donald, but also it's just hard to kill. It droops when it needs water. So it's we still have that plant that he gave us when we lost our son. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. Well, I asked the question that I did because it's been proven, I believe, through studies that when it comes to Black women and care, healthcare, there's story after story after story of situations like that where the medical professionals seem to not,
Neglect us.
there you go. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, again, I'm not speculating. I was just curious about that because that could have been a possibility. So,
Yeah.
did they ever make you feel that way, or was it?
I don't think I felt the only time I really felt something is the day that I was losing him because that one doctor was being ugly and he wasn't my primary one. He was in the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the nurses, they were so nice because they were, I got tired of them, but they were doing their jobs because I hear a lot, especially being in the PI, that people are not doing this. You know how they're supposed to switch you over so you don't get your bed sores and things like that. And it seemed like as soon as I either get to sleep or get comfortable, they're like, "Oh, Mrs. Harris, we got to turn you over." And I was just like, but thank God they were doing that
Right.
to keep me from having these bed sores. So, they were really nice there. It was, and I'm not even going to say during my prenatal visit, they weren't nice, but the fact that you neglected things that you should have admitted me to the hospital on that Thursday, my baby could have probably still be here. And then, even though people have babies every day, it's still a life-threatening thing for a woman to have a baby that would be life and death. And so with preeclampsia, we both could have died. The baby could die, which in my case did, or I could have. And ironically, Donald had a cousin that same year. Her name was Jennifer as well. And she was only 16. She had the same thing. And unfortunately, she passed, but her baby lived. And she wasn't in the military, but so that preeclampsia is like it's life or death, and both of you can survive if it's caught early enough, but it's like both can also die or one or the other. And in our case, I survived, and then in her case, she did not. So
Wow.
yeah.
Sad. Well, this next question is sort of tied into the statement you made before about some of the racial issues you faced more so when you got out than when you were in. And so that's the question. Have you personally faced any challenges specific to being a person of color?
Yeah, I have, and I think sometimes I try to ignore it because you don't want to be that person to say, "Oh, she's just claiming race," because how they say that. Oh, and I remember the warehouse job I was talking about. This white guy. It was two of my white supervisors. It was funny because one of them, I think people thought, I don't know if they thought he was racist or just mean or both. When they were like, and I don't know. Sometimes older white men just like me, but he's like, "Jennifer, that man, no, he mean, but he like you." And so, and I knew he liked me because when I was in school and I worked a 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift, and he came to me and he told me he had some bad news. He's like, "I know you're in school, but we're getting rid of the 2 to 10 p.m. shift." And then I was like, so they was only doing the a.m., which at the time was, I think it was 6 a.m. They changed it to 5:30, 6 a.m. to whenever we finish. And so I said, "Well, if I do my classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or vice versa, can I work those days?" He was like, "Yeah." So we worked it out that way. And he was like, "Yeah, he liked you." And there's the other white guy. He was cool too, but he made a comment about prejudice. Racism don't exist anymore. And I said, only white people say that.
Ooh.
So,
But you shy though, right? You shy.
right. Oh, it was just one-on-one though. So it wasn't like it was in a group.
Okay.
But it was like, so, but you don't, when you feel it, and sometimes you dismiss it because you don't want to be like, "Oh, there she go playing the race card again." But we know what we feel, the examples and everything. So with jobs, sometimes you can't prove it, sometimes you can. I had a person at the store would not put my money back in my hand, put it on the conveyor belt. It is just like, yeah, just sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's blatant. I think since Trump is in office, it's more blatant again. But yeah.
Wow. So,
I mean,
so
you want to know? I have an example if you want to hear recently
please,
that I had
please.
about a job.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I got the job I have now, I was trying to get back into accounting because I was kind of burnt out with personal injury. And it was hard to get back into it because I had been out of accounting for about 8 years, maybe 10. And so I would get a first interview. The first interview would go well, and you would think I would be an expert at interviewing, being going every 3 years without a get out. But I hate interviewing. It's part of my shyness, and just trying to convey and articulate what I know that I can do is hard. And but I had this one interview, and I just knew I was about to get this job, and the interview was going well. And then all of a sudden, it was an older white man, and when I walked in, of course, it was all white people. But I didn't think none of it at first. But in hindsight, after I didn't get the job, I said, okay, yeah. He got nervous all of a sudden. He started rambling and talking about, his black customers and his Hispanic customers and so, and it caught my guard. I was like, where's this going? But then I guess he had to reel it in. So he was like, said, it's going to be between me and this other person. I'm like, okay, good. So he bamboozled me, right? Because I guess he realized, I don't need her to think that I don't want her because she's black. So, they called me in to meet two women that came from the Blue Ridge office. And my interview was kind of late. It was like 3 p.m. So they was like, oh, yeah, we got to still speak with the other candidate. And I was like, oh, I thought y'all would have already spoke to, let's just say Tracy. He told me her name, but I can't think of what to say, Tracy. And they both looked, and they were like, well, who is Tracy? I said, Tracy is the other candidate that he told me it was between me and her. And the one lady was like, after my interview, she was like, oh, I can see why he was impressed with you. Then we get to me saying that. And then one lady was like, oh, well, I probably shouldn't say this, but it's just us girls. We kind of wanted a woman in this position, and Tracy turned out to be a man. And I was like, well, did she come on the interview as a woman? I mean, I'll say, how did that? I didn't get that. So she didn't really answer that. So they was interviewing somebody else, not Tracy, supposedly, right? So then I get the dreaded email, which I like getting it because I'd rather have one telling me I didn't get the job versus no response at all. Mm-hmm. But I get the email and it tells me that they chose to go with the other candidate because she had more experience. So I was pissed off because you knew she had more experience before we went to the second interview. So you could have just chose her based off that. Why make me come on the second interview just to tell me that? Because what changed between the first interview and that she already had more experience? So for you could have came up with a better excuse. So in my mind, going back and replaying everything, I said, yeah, he felt like, one, my name is Jennifer Harris. A lot of people think I'm white from my name. Then when I get there, they say I'm black. It's like, so I felt like that's why they didn't want me and had to save face. Then he tried to save more face, and he said because he knew I was working at a law firm. He had a attorney friend that was working something with accounting, so he gave me his information to like maybe submit my resume to him. I looked this person up, and it's a Trump supporter. You didn't want me because I was black. You think your friend gonna want me because I'm black?
What?
So it was like,
what? Wow.
So yeah, that was one. And the worst one, I think, it's a kind of a bunch of them when it comes to job, and most of it is because my name. Another one, I'm gonna go to another one, but this one, I talked to this lady on the phone. My first interview was a phone interview, and I don't sound white. Mm-hmm. My name might sound white, but I don't sound white. So when I got to the in-person interview, I don't know why she was shocked to see that I was black, and then tell me, oh, well, and I'm still thinking, I'm being naive, thinking certain words they say that I got the job. She's like, oh, well, you wouldn't be able to wear those pretty clothes because we just wear jeans and T-shirts. But I was supposed to wear that on the interview, right? I didn't get that job.
Wow.
But anyway, the one I wanted to talk about, the last one, at Fort Campbell.
Fort Campbell, okay.
This was the worst one.
Good old Kentucky.
Yeah. And this is where my boldness should have came in, because in hindsight, I wish I would have gave them a piece of my mind. So a recruiter sent me to this job. I know they thought I was white. I'm sitting in the waiting room. Do you know, I sat there for I should have walked out. I'm going to save face and say maybe 45 minutes, but I probably sat there an hour before they came out to get me. These two young white women kept walking past, looking through the window at me, giggling or whatever, walking back and forth. And I was saying in my head, are they some ones that were supposed to interview me? Because it's like, so that when it was them, that just really like infuriated me. So when they finally come and get me, the one would not shake my hand and say she had a cold. Yet she had not coughed, sneezed, or sniffled one time while we were in the interview.
Mm.
Um, the other lady, why is she interviewing me when the person they was going to hire was replacing her because she couldn't get it? But you got the nerve to ask me questions, but you can't even get it yourself. So she asked something, and I forget what it was, but it was something stupid. So the lady, now she trying to act like she got her cold, so she sits on one end. The lady who has the cold, supposedly, allegedly had the cold, she sits across from me,
Mm-hmm.
and she, the one who don't know what she's doing, so I don't know why she's in the interview, she kicked her because it was like, and I could see it. It's like, really? So that one, I wish I would have gave peace of mind. So when I left the interview, usually when recruiters send you to a place, they want to know how the interview go. And normally I tell them, you know how I feel. Oh, I think it went good, or yeah, I don't know. This one, I wish I had told him more than I told him, but I asked him. I said, because he met with her the day before. I said, did she shake your hand? He said yes. I said, okay, she didn't shake my hand, and I said that interview didn't go good, and I just left it at that. But like you walking back and forth giggling, and you take an hour to call me back there, and then you don't want to shake my hand, then you trying to make it seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. But you got the person who y'all replacing, and if that had been a black person, she would have been fired. They're just gonna relocate her to a different department and have her sit on the interview to interview the person that replacing her because she don't know what she's doing. Make that make sense.
Well, I have a question. I don't know which way this is going to go, but you mentioned you looked at a profile, you saw that the person was a Trump supporter, right? My question, since you said that, is what if, or what are your thoughts on if the person would have been black, yet still a Trump supporter?
I probably still would have went because the man who recommended him, that means y'all got the same views and you still trying to save face. And I just looked at it just for the heck of it because I already had felt what I felt and was mad that you wasted my time
Okay.
because you didn't want me to come back and probably try to sue. So now you will say, no, we even had her on a second interview. We even told her it was, she was close in running second, but she just didn't have the experience. You knew that on the first interview. And then so many interviews I went on my second interview for accounting, the first interview will go good, and the second people will say, "Oh, well, you haven't done accounting in 10 years," but you knew that on my first interview.
True.
I don't get it. Why are you wasting people's time?
Okay. Well, I only asked the question because I'm wondering if I say the words black Trump supporter, not even in that context, not having nothing to do with a job interview or anything, just black Trump supporter, what kinds of thoughts come to mind?
Well, so normally I don't like to. Matter of fact, probably before Obama became president, I really wasn't even into politics or followed it like that. And the only reason I'm following it now because I'm waiting for them to say Trump has been impeached, removed, and convicted. But so when they say black supporters, I'm disgusted, but at the same time, for the most part, like I was saying, if you look at me, I'm black, of course, but you don't know unless you look at my license plate. You don't know I'm a veteran. You don't know I'm a Christian. So a lot of people we come into contact with, whether it's on our jobs, in passing, grocery stores, whatever, we don't know what they support. Until we get deep with them. Like when people want to counsel people out, for example. R. Kelly, people, didn't play his music a lot when he got convicted of the child pornography and all that. Yes, what he did and what he was convicted of
Mm-hmm.
was bad, but we cannot take away that man made some great music. and so it's like these people, the CEOs over whatever it is, people who made our TV, we go back and find out, oh, he molested his child. What we gonna do? We gonna throw our TV out the window? So we don't know what people do behind closed doors. And when it comes to light, then it's like this whole uproar. But I don't know. I guess sometimes that's probably why you don't want to discuss it because once you find out something, it's like, oh my God, I can't talk to you anymore. But no, I'm disgusted with the white people too, not just the black people. Shoot, because it's like y'all, even if you are a Trump supporter, black or white, after seeing what he's doing, why are y'all still lying for him and gun hoeing for him? It just don't make any sense. And telling us what we're seeing is not true. Or what we're hearing is not true. So it's like, wake up and just be for real. But that's how bad it is for the white racist person. And just they are gonna go home because they're like, he white, it don't matter. He white, he right. then that's what we're going with.
Okay. All right. Um, so what is the one thing people get wrong about you the most?
One, they don't believe I'm shy.
Okay.
A
Right.
lot of people don't believe that because I talk, but I am. I'm very. I was more shy growing up. I was very timid,
Hmm.
very shy, and I'm so glad my daughter didn't get that trait from me. She was things I wanted to do. She did. I wanted to be a cheerleader. I was too shy, probably too stiff too, but
Okay.
she was a cheerleader. She's outgoing. She's traveled the world even before she became a flight attendant, and it's like I don't want to do it. And man, I'm better now, but I wouldn't go to the movies by myself. I wouldn't go eat by myself. I didn't want to go shopping by myself. I do those things now, but I just didn't do those things. And now she do all that by herself. She's, whatever. And I'm so glad she didn't get that shy trait, timid trait. But she didn't grow up in a household either to which she would be timid. I think the reason why I grew up timid was because of my father. My biological father was killed when I was one,
Mm,
and my mother's second husband, my sister father, I didn't like him.
okay.
And I don't want anybody to read between the lines. It was no molestation or thing like that, but he was not that great of a guy. He was kind of mean.
Okay.
I didn't like him, and I was timid the time that we lived with him. And my mother left him at the end of my fifth grade year, and her third husband, who passed away, probably about 3 years ago. I wish she had met him first.
Mm,
But so when we met him, I was in the seventh grade, um, and that was like the father that I never had. Um, but by that time, those principal years, I was already it was imprinted in me to be shy and timid, growing up from 3 to 10 with the one I didn't like, and I remember being mad at my sister because she loved her daddy so much. And
mm.
I used to be mad at her for loving him so much.
Wow.
But yeah, but I didn't get to experience the daddy's girl thing because with Bill, he was like the father I never had. But he, how like I don't know. Do you have a daughter?
I do not have a daughter. I have a
Okay.
granddaughter.
Well, daddy's little girls, they get to sit on their daddy's lap and they just daddy's girl, whatever. Bill, when I met him, like I said, I think I was 11 or 12. And one, I'm too old to sit on his lap, and then two, he's a stepfather, so he has to be careful so
Hmm.
people don't get the wrong impression and things like that.
Hmm.
But he took care of me, he loved me, and he loved my mom, and whatever. And I remember, matter of fact, when I met Donald, well, I won't say that, but yeah, I wish he had met him first, but then I guess my sister wouldn't be here. But
No, I got you. I got you.
But I believe her father is why part of the reason why I was so timid and I was so shy, and I'm still shy, but I talk. I have friends. I make friends. I remember I have an ex friend. 20 years we was friends, and we're not friends anymore. But I remember her making a comment about because we moved every 3 years, and she's like, "How you always making friends?" And people would tell me that I never meet a stranger, and I told her, well, one. I smile and I'm approachable. You're always looking mean, so nobody's going to approach you.
Okay.
But so that's one thing people don't really believe on shy. But people who really, really know me, they might know because I might not. If I'm going to do something, if I'm going to do karaoke or if I'm going to dance, I want it to be like a crowd or I feel like nobody's really looking at me type of thing. But if it's open or something like that, I'm not going to probably dance too much or I'm not going to do the karaoke because I can't sing. But,
Hmm.
I hold back on certain things because I'm shy. And then another thing that people get wrong about me, I don't even know what the word is. I know a lot of people think, well, women would think I am. I guess the nice version would be a diva because that's what people use at Fort Campbell, and I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it because a diva can be a compliment, but in the way they were using it, it felt like an insult. Like I thought I was better than, or sedity, stuck up, or whatever, and
Mm,
that type of thing. And I don't know why I'm not materialistic. I like to drive a nice car. And I like to wear cute clothes, but they're not name brand.
Wow.
But, you don't know.
Mhm.
But I think the way sometimes you might carry yourself or what you drive, because people make comments about that. Or also sometimes sometimes I'm reserved, and sometimes people take people being quiet as being standoffish sometimes when I'm in certain, because I will talk, but I have to feel comfortable or whatever. And so that's the misconception.
Well, about this being shy thing, how does one make it through basic training shy? Because they make you can't hide in basic training. They make you sound off. They make you, you know, I don't know.
But I think in basic training though, everything was as a group because I wasn't like a squad leader or anything. So when you sound off, we're sounding off together. It'd be that leader that started off and then you end. Well, honestly, like I told you, that was God. That I was not trying to go into the military. God made me go some type of way, and I don't even know how I made it through boot camp. And the one friend from Fort Campbell, he always would say when he would introduce us, "Can y'all believe that Jen was in the military?" Because he think I'm so pretty and so girly and all that. Can y'all believe she was in the military?
Wow.
And so I don't know that. I remember. So I told you I cried the day I kissed my mom goodbye,
Mm-hmm.
and then I cried one more time, and I said I'm not gonna cry no more. So I don't remember if it was the first night or not. I think it was the first night when you get off that little cattle bus thing,
Mm-hmm.
you get
Mm-hmm.
to your room, and it was two of us in a room, and there was a bunk bed, and of course I was on top, which is harder to make the bed
Right.
up.
Oh man.
And I remember laying there, and I cried, and I said, "What did I get myself into?" And then I said, "Okay, Jennifer, you made a commitment. I'm not crying no more, and we're gonna get through it." So I didn't cry anymore, but I remember one phone call I made to my mom. I said I don't think I'm gonna make it because I couldn't get my weapon to what you call it when you have to when you when you get your weapon you shooting it. You know how you have to get it. I don't know what the word is, but I couldn't get it.
So when you're talking about when you so I know part of BRM, right? They tell you how to take it apart, how to clean it, how to put it back together. When it gets jammed, how to recover from that. Like what is it that you
When we're trying to shoot it and you're trying to get it.
zero.
Yes, I couldn't
Okay.
get my weapon to zero.
Okay.
And so I said, and you only get 3 times to pass something before you get kicked out. So I said, I don't know, Mom. I think I'm and the hardest part before that was the PT, the running and all that. I passed, I made it through that. Thank God to the recruiter. But I said, I don't know, Mom. I might be coming home because I don't think I'm gonna pass this marksman, whatever the shoot thing that we had to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're practicing and trying to zero our weapon, we're shooting at paper targets.
Right.
And I could never get it right. But God was on my side because when it came to the test, it had them green pop-up people. So how could you miss them? How could you miss that target? So I
No.
passed.
Stop playing. Stop playing.
So I made it through.
Not the pop-up people. Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, the pop-up targets. Those were helpful. That's
Right, because if it had still been that paper, I don't know, I probably would have had the boot. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have made it because I couldn't zero my weapon.
now that's surprising. I'm glad you made it because usually they won't even let you move forward to get to the pop-up targets or to qualify if your weapon isn't zeroed properly. And they must have said, "Man, let her go."
I'm telling you, everything was God.
Yeah, let her go, man.
God was like, she got to get to Fort Campbell to meet Donald.
Right. Right. Okay. There it
It
is.
is funny because I remember Fort Hood being the worst place to be stationed. And then I was praying when they was giving out orders, please let me stay stateside. Please let me stay stateside. Then I get Fort Hood because I did not want to go overseas on my first duty station. Then while we're in and Donald's still in, we like, dang, they not going to give us Germany. We not going to get Hawaii. We was all just stateside. So, but it's just, and I didn't even used to like to travel. Now I love to travel. I can't wait till my next trip. But, things just come full circle, things change or whatever. But
So when you went in, they didn't do a dream sheet?
Well, when you do the three things, they don't never give you what you pick. Donald always put Hawaii and Germany, and one time he put Hawaii, Germany, and I didn't know this till later. He put Michigan. Why he put Michigan? And I hate the cold. I'm from Michigan, but I wanted to come to the South for a reason. He put, excuse me, Hawaii, Michigan, and Germany.
Okay.
Guess what we got?
What'd you get?
We got Illinois.
Woo.
Because you never get what's on your list, but Illinois was close to Michigan, right?
Woo.
And so when we got Illinois, I was like, how did we get stationed here? It was so cold, and I hate the cold. Snow. He was born in Alabama. Our daughter was born in Alabama. They out there in the snow. They had the prettiest snowman on the block. I said, y'all can have it. I've been there, done that. Had to go to, never had snow days, still had to go to school. I did not enjoy that. Come to find out, he put Michigan down. And I'm like, why do you do that? He said, because I thought you want to be close to your mom. I left Michigan for a reason. It's cold. So that's how we got Illinois.
Okay.
So yeah, but no, I hate the cold.
Right on. Okay. Well, last question. Is there anything you wish I had asked? And if so, what and how would you answer it?
No, because as you can see, I just talked. I went on about different stuff. I was nothing that I wish you would ask me, and glad I got this interview over with. I probably want you to take some things out.
You're good. You're good. All right. Well, that being the case, that was easy. So regarding current events, what current event would you like to share your opinion on?
I already did. I'm ready for Trump to be impeached, removed, and convicted.
Why?
Because it's obvious. He is, oh my God, he's an embarrassment. I pray that he don't target Georgia, because I was wondering, I said, what is going on in Minnesota that the ICE is so rampant up there, and then found out is because of the Somalians. So it's like it's sad. It's just sad. I feel bad every time I see. And even if these people that they're targeting and they're dragging out their homes and taking to Venezuela, not Venezuelans, taking to what's that camp they was taking those people to? They weren't even deporting them back to their home country. They was taking to like this prison camp. Is it it's not in Venezuela?
No. So there's a bunch. If you're talking in the States.
But let's just say these people were the worst of the worst, like they claim. Even if they were, we still, as human beings and Americans, we treat humans supposed to be, humane. And they treat dogs better than what they're treating these people, just because Trump then gave them this green card. Well, that wasn't supposed to be a pun, but they gave them the gold, the right away to just go back to the good old white old boys to act like they're acting and just run rapid with it. It's sad. And like I said, I listen and watch because I'm ready to hear what I want to hear. But at the same time, it's like bringing tears to my eyes seeing that, because I'm like thinking, okay, we're blessed, but it could be us, and just because there's most of them are citizens and they're still being targeted. We can, and I don't know, I don't have an accent. Well, I guess I have a Southern accent, but we don't have the accent of another country. But just because we're Black, they can just pick with us and think, oh, you're Dominican, where's your papers or whatever. So I'm just like, oh, don't come to Georgia. But they're moving from state to state. Mostly, I know they were in Chicago, right? Because I know when we was in Chicago, there was a lot of Hispanics there. And when we was in Waukegan, my girlfriend, I thought she was joking, but a Hispanic told her there was a sign in Mexico that said Waukegan got work. And so they was coming to Waukegan for work. And I was just like, you lying? She said no. So I wouldn't be surprised they won't be out there. But it's just, I don't know, it's just sad. And it's just like, we already know as Black people, we came a long way, but we're still not where we should be. And now we're going backwards. And if Trump had his way, we probably have slavery again. So it's just crazy.
Wow.
That's how I feel.
Okay, right on. That's how you feel. So, all right. Well, we have come to the end of this thing. You made it. Is there anything else on your mind? Anything else you wanna say before we wrap it up?
I'll say when we're talking about my son that we lost, when I got pregnant with my daughter, I wasn't in the military, but because of what happened, I was high risk. So, and this was a white doctor, and he was a very good doctor. He got on my nerves. That's how good he was, because he was like, "You're not losing the baby on my watch." He didn't say that, but that's how he felt, because he had me coming to the doctor. I swear I had to go every day, but I knew it wasn't every day, but that's what it felt like. And when I would go, because Janaya, she was a lazy baby, so she was not moving, and he would make me drink a Coke, and he was like, he would let me leave until she moved 10 times. He would have to get 10 kicks out of her before he would let me leave the hospital. So one time she burped, and he said, "Oh, well, that don't count. She burped." I said, "Well, if she burping, that she's good, right?" Like, count it. He wouldn't even count that.
Wow.
He was like, he wanted to see some kicks, some punches before he would let me leave. But he was good. And she ended up coming early too. She was small. She was only 4'11", but she came early as well. And also she came early and made me mad, because the doctor that I liked and was used to, he didn't even get to deliver her, because they had to get the doctor that was on call. But he did good though, especially with me being high risk. He was monitoring me real good or whatever. But and I always wanted 2 kids. I don't know how people do it, because one was really enough. But at the same time, if I wanted a second one, I didn't want them to be no more than 5 years apart. When she turned 5, I was like, God, that went by fast. I'm not ready. And then I was scared to get pregnant again, because the doctor, after I had her, well, while I was pregnant with her, he told me I would never carry full term. My placenta is just weak like that. I had to be watched, and all that. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. Donald got his vasectomy. We was good. So
Right on.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate you stepping out of your shyness. Wow. I don't know that anybody's listening to this is going to think or believe that you're shy, but okay. Stepping out.
No, a lot of people don't, but I don't know. Even when I have to do those recordings, because there's a lot of words I can't say. Well, mostly the FR and BR words, it was hard for me to say. And so like, it was a joke I told you when me and Donald was doing the litany one time, and we was practicing. He's like, "No, you say that. You say that." I was like, "Nope, you got it." So it's just like, no, because I get tongue tied sometimes, and it's just like, that's why I don't like doing interviews. It's hard to articulate sometimes, and it's just, I don't know. Like I said, it's just that timidness from being little. Even though I grew out of that, all the shyness is just not gone. So I don't like all eyes on me.
I think you did well. I think you did very well.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
I thank you for just taking the time to sit with me. And let's try and get this out to the world and let the world hear you. Right?
Maybe.
So
let me listen to it first. It didn't say, "No, let's do it over." I might need to take something out.
Oh, Lord. If anything, I'll let you add to it. How about that? So, listen. All right. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And with that said, may God keep you. May God bless you. And may God continue to be with you. Thank you.
Amen.